Hello and welcome to Deep Dive Film School. I'm Adam Sherlock.
And I'm Adam Poulter.
And if you like what you see/hear, please like and subscribe. You can find us in all the spaces and places that people what?
Find good media. That's right. Our most popular platforms are Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So please join us there. You can also follow both of us at Letterboxd at Adam Poulter here. Mr. Sherlock there.
That's right.
So check us out if you want to watch our movie.
What's my
Why do I know it and you don't?
I know. It's my name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyways, we were going to continue our Agnès Varda festival with 1965's Le Bonheur. I think I'm saying that correctly.
I think you are.
It means happiness in English. Hopefully my childlike American mind can defy this English translation because bonheurs are generally happy. Right?
I mean, you don't see a lot of like fear boners, right? Or like
True.
You're really surprised. Or
it scared
grief.
the boner out of
Maybe
me.
a grief one.
Yeah.
No, but this is happiness. So sorry, Todd Solondz.
Yeah, not yours.
Not yours. You got beat about 30 years to another movie called Happiness that is also not a very truthful title for the movie.
Not at all.
I right out of the gates, I just want to say this. I was ill prepared for this movie.
Really?
And I guess what I mean when I say that is like having only seen Cleo from 5 to 7, and not really knowing a lot about Varda's sort of filmography.
And we are doing the movies we're doing in chronological order as well. So,
yes, this is like 3 years after.
Yeah, so in 65,
Cleo.
It is a full color, though, where Cleo was black and white.
And not really knowing, but thinking about the title Happiness, and then, it being so idyllic in the beginning, I was like, something bad's going to happen? Is something bad's going to happen? Is something bad's going to happen? And
I was like, oh, they're still happy. This is really sweet for now.
Right, 100%. And like by the time it finally gets into the third act, I was like, I felt, and since then I've been thinking about it the way that I feel when I watch like a Haneke film, where it's like it goes to such a devastating place that makes you as the audience complicit because there is no person there going, it's going to be okay, right? Like, Varda does not let you off the hook here.
No.
And I couldn't believe this movie.
It's also somewhat delightful.
Yeah.
Very different than Cleo, though.
Oh, very different. Very different.
Excuse me. But yeah, no, this, there's a lot of different directors I thought about. I mean, seriously, some of her cinematography is up there with Greenaway or even Kubrick, or especially if you're matching the music to what she's doing here. Very interesting.
The color palettes, I was thinking of Floating Weeds. Just these and apparently, apparently, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the flowers, Varda was having them hand paint the actual petals of the flowers, so they'd be so bright.
Yeah.
And if they had to do a second take, they'd have to go back and paint them again because they would just wilt immediately.
Her use of color is really interesting here because, all these places and rooms that we're in, just blank walls, blank canvases everywhere. And they could be a muted gray or a blue or a red or something, but there's no artwork or a clock on the wall or anything, right? It's just people talking in front of these blank walls. She uses colors for transitions.
I've never seen
Me
that
neither.
before.
There's a few things that she did here that I've never seen, especially with editing.
Yes.
I thought there was some magical shit in here from the editing standpoint.
So let's talk about that because I think that the for now that you're talking about is really apparent from the jump. There is this very upbeat. I hear what you're saying about the Kubrick thing. There's this upbeat Mozart chamber piece that is playing right from the jump, and we have all these different cuts of sunflowers, and sunflowers actually show up throughout this whole movie, up until one of our main characters is no longer in the movie, and then we don't see them again. And the cuts of these different sunflowers, and then the out of focus family, the four of them holding hands and sort of playing in a field beyond the sunflowers. But then it keeps hard cutting back to this one flower. and it's like, and they start to
Quick
get
blips.
faster and faster until pretty soon it's like Fight Club, like a half.
The trailer is like that too. I watched the trailer today.
I didn't see it.
And there's no words, anything through it. It's just showing different parts of the movie and flashing that flower and then the title. Like,
is the flower us? Is the flower the sort of like the actual like emotional center of the film that's not represented anywhere else? Like, I was like, is this a character? And I think throughout the film it kind of is, or at least the spirit of it is, whatever the conscience that no one in the movie addresses.
For sure, yeah. And you don't need to, because she does it as the filmmaker.
Right.
And so I do think it is definitely an important part of the story. What it is, I'm not exactly sure, but even, I'm jumping obviously to the end here, but they're wearing matching clothes the same color as the flower.
Exactly.
So like there's a
yellow,
lot of depth going on here. I really just barely watched this yesterday, and I've definitely been digesting it and thinking about it, and yeah, it's a it does start out wonderful and lovely, and it's called Happiness, right?
Yes.
And I truly knew nothing about this movie. I think I read a blip about it before, just kind of the synopsis about it before I turned it on, just to get an idea. But like, I like going into movies just naked and just kind of
100%.
not knowing what I'm expecting, especially someone who's been around for generations directing. If I've gone this long without knowing, like, it's probably good. It's, this is going to be fun because, it's a completely different time in 1965,
100%.
Especially if you're in France and hear the French countryside a lot too,
where we
do see the flowers.
Shots,
but,
like just the wilderness of them doing this camping, and they've got this adorable little car, and they're this adorable little family, and there's all these elements that lull you into this sleepy Parisian summertime romance, and it takes a really, really long time
third act
for you to realize you're watching a fucking horror movie.
Wow.
Like, by the time that and there's a lot of talk about that online, like there are like, and even at the time when it came out, a lot of people were like, oh, it is a masqueraded.
They've made this a hard R, I think.
Yeah, and it's this masquerading story that really, at the end of it, you're like, oh yeah, this is for all intent and purpose like a nightmare of a film. It takes a while for you to get there, and it has so many things to say about sexual politics, about feminism, about what it means, just the title, like Happiness, right? And really, what's important at the end of all of this is Francois's happiness. Like, that's what the movie
our
centers
main character
on.
Francois. But this movie is essentially kind of a love triangle to some degree. Nothing like from story wise out there until we get to the third act.
Yep.
It's all pretty straightforward, like you said, summer kind of romantic thing.
But it does make you remind of that like beginning of like Fatal Attraction, where you're like, you got such a great life. What are you doing, you dummy? Like,
well, for sure,
that's kind of
absolutely. But it's the sad justification that men think they can
I can have it all.
I mean, I have this amazing wife Teresa, who obviously they have a great life. They have these cute, adorable kids. His real wife and real kids, by the way.
Yeah. I know, it's a real family,
which is
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
But then he meets the long distance calling. Remember that?
Yep.
And you had to call. But he
need the help of an operator.
Yeah. So he finds this absolutely stunning operator named Emily.
Yeah.
And
who kind of just seems like Therese 2.0. Like, they look incredibly alike.
Yeah. Therese maybe has a little longer hair, but yeah,
that's about it. And it's like, and he says to Emily, I love her, but she's like a sturdy plant, and you're a wild animal, and you're just like, fuck,
he wants to have it all.
Fuck you, dude. Like,
not
also
how it works, bro.
Not how it works, and B, like you married her, and you domesticated her, and she's still working, and B, she actually is the one in the family who has an artistic job, right? She's a seamstress. She builds dresses, and he works in a wood shop as a carpenter building like shelves and shit. And you're like, the arrogance of him, and there's this beautiful subversive thing. I mean, there's tons of subversions happening in this movie, but specifically with Francois, in that he's a pretty ordinary guy who just seems adorable and normal.
Yeah, there's nothing you like dislike. He doesn't mistreat his wife or
No,
anything like that.
no.
Other than cheating on her, of course. But
Right. He thinks that he's like, this is what.
Well, he says happiness is. What does he say? He says happiness works by addition, right? And so he just wants to add this in.
Yeah, the sort of capitalistic notion that the more of all the things will make the quotient of your happiness go up, without ever stopping to think about like what makes that happiness, right? Like he's so vapid, and you don't. And the actor, he does. What's the actor's name?
Jean-Claude Durand.
Yeah, he does such an amazing job of really seeming like a sweet guy, with the exception
He looks like Bill Hader.
He does look like Bill Hader, and he's generally good natured, and even when he's saying shitty things, right? Like when he's saying, "If I would have met you before I met Therese, like things would be different," and I'm like, okay, it's one thing to have an affair with somebody. I mean, that's awful. But it's another thing to be like, to basically be telling this other person, yeah,
you're second in line.
I made a mistake or whatever. Like, it's fucking wild. And then he goes right back and he's having dinner around the table. They're celebrating, his sister's,
I think it's his brother and sister-in-law.
Brother and sister-in-law, and their brand new baby, right? And so they're all sitting around and they're just having this lovely time, and there's nothing in his face that ever betrays a sense of guilt.
Yeah.
Actually, through the whole movie, which is part of why I say it's a horror movie, because by the final sort of like last scene in this film, you want, and I agree with you, you want anyone to tell you how wrong this all is, and then you have to accept that Varda is telling you because she made the movie. But it's funny because people at the time, like obviously a lot of people loved this movie, but there was a lot of critique about how Varda had not given enough autonomy to the women characters in the movie. It's right? True. That was somehow a sexist
a female
lens.
Director will probably,
right. And you're like, no, that's the whole point. And she was like, her response to that was, well, I know people like this. Like, I know women that are like this. Like, this happens way more than the thing you want to have happen, which is actually that kind of like wish fulfillment moment of somebody being like, oh, screw you. I can't believe you would do this. I'm taking the kids and leaving. No, what we get is very different. And I think that it's those differences that are so jarring, would be jarring in a movie today, let alone one that came out in 1965.
No doubt.
To not have any moral compass in your movie and be like, well, you know better. So this is what you get.
I think the moral compass is that idyllic young marriage, right? It's a facade, of course, to some degree.
Not for her,
but like his happiness. What is his happiness versus her happiness, right?
Yeah.
What you can't have everything, and he wants it. He plays it off for a while. That he, just has an extra job and he's spending this time with her.
And everything that's happening in those moments building up. I want to talk a little bit about some of the incredible edits here.
Seriously, like answering the door, the back and forth.
Like, when they first go out for coffee, and there's this moment where, we know what's going to happen, even more so than they're acknowledging what's going to happen. But she says, well, let's meet inside. Like on their next time they're going to hang out. Let's meet inside. And we do this imaginary cut of the two of them inside someplace, and they both break the fourth wall and look right at the camera. And then he's like, no, let's meet outside. And then it's another imaginary thing, something that never happens later in the movie. And they again break the fourth wall and look directly at the camera. And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. And then right after that, the camera pans away to signs for movies that are playing, and one of them says temptation. And then as they're gathering their stuff, it goes to another one and says mystery.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, like it's so incredible. Like,
I mean, so she's not afraid to show the detail of a situation, even though, like I said, like the blank canvas of what they're standing behind there's no detail, right? It's just blank.
Well, it's the strength of knowing like when a, you know, it's almost like a, in the mood for love kind of a thing where it's like just knowing like how a pipe could break up a wall and so therefore break up where the actors are standing is so like nuanced and relaxed that it just kind of falls over.
It really is like there's a scene in the forest where they're dancing, but there's a tree in the middle.
Yep.
And he keeps swinging back and forth
and
in between
as
the tree. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
And there's a couple of times where, again, to Peter Greenaway style,
I definitely thought about Greenaway.
The tree in the middle is actually it creates a ruse where we don't think there's a cut.
Yeah.
Because when it cuts back, he's dancing
with someone else,
with Emily.
Yeah.
Right, and then and you're like, wait, they're not all at the party together though. Like we've jumped through time.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of times, and you know, they do show these cutaways of future.
Yep.
And we don't know if it's real or not. You know, I don't know, but they really pulled it off. And even when, I don't know, man. I just like the scene, like when they first sleep together.
Yeah.
Him and Emily, and her cutaways to just body parts. You know.
Oh
like
my God.
Her necklace, swooping hair,
and again,
you know,
breaking the
shoulder.
fourth wall. We have, I mean, they're almost model shots where an arm is framing one of his eyes and he's staring directly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even before I totally wrote that down. And I think that mixed in with that, those jump cuts of their bodies, there's also times where it's him and Therese. So I think it's almost just like this, that it starts as the culmination of their affair, but then just kind of jumps to sex in general, which is also just like such a wild take, but it makes sense because if part of what we're doing is that we're kind of in Francois's head in these different moments, then sex is sex, right? And like, this is just what that's like when you sleep with one of the women that is bringing you happiness. The scene right before this, that's really the true beginning of their affair, is when he goes to her apartment. And again, my God, the jump cuts, the edits here where we linger on this tracking shot of the two of them, and they're not talking, they're just like looking at each other. And then he kind of like glances away and we get these like half a second blips of like, there's an umbrella in a vase. And then it's back to them. And then it's like, that's a chair. And it's back to them. It's like, that's a painting on the wall.
There's the little details.
And it's the littlest details. But I was like, that's exactly what that feels like in that moment where you're locked in on someone new and you're in a new place and you're like, I'm sensing the things in the room, but I'm not looking at them because this person in front of me is the most important thing. Like, it's such a fascinating way of showing that.
I've never really seen that. Some people would just put a wide lens and camera in the corner and show everything that way, right?
Right, exactly.
She frames everything in close and tight. You know, I mean, he walks into that room and it's right away.
Yep.
They're showing that stuff. And
it gives you a sense of nervousness and energy and sort of like he's doing a thing he shouldn't be doing. Like it kind of like ramps up and ratchets up all of those things.
Yeah, I agree. Amazing stuff. And really, again, the camera work, the editing here, for a movie that's this old to be this, like, I'm like, why has no one stolen that from her?
I know.
I'm like, how have I not seen an edit like that before? It's very interesting. But like I said, her version of happiness is different than his, right?
Yeah.
And he loves them both, is what he ends up telling them. And he finally admits in this third act that he is in love and is cheating.
Yep.
And she doesn't necessarily seem completely taken back by it, but almost wants to like help to some degree.
Yeah, it's like there's this docileness to her that is almost, I mean, it almost feels like that this is happening. And when he admits it, yeah, he's not embarrassed.
No,
he's not,
just
he
like,
doesn't
yeah,
feel
it's happened
bad
for a few months. And,
and
she's
it's
like, what can I do?
Well, and she's like, are you going to live with her? Like, and it's so sad because you just go, well, yeah, she loves him so much and wants to make him happy that her immediate capitulation into the scenario felt so gross to me. And I remembered at the moment being like, is this where we find out that the movie has aged really poorly and like it's going to be a happy ending? Because if it is, that's a real bummer because I've really liked it up to this point.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, I mean, she's confused, I think. I wouldn't say mad, but
No.
I would say confused. And then he says, he's like, if that makes you unhappy, I'll stop. But you know, let's try and...
Yeah, let's see what we can do here.
Figure this out.
Like, it does make me really happy, though. And she's like, well, okay. And so he's like, great. And then has sex with her. You know, like, immediately, right? And,
well,
and
the
you're
kids are
just
sleeping 10 feet away.
Yeah.
So.
And listen, those kids understand when their parents are horny because the second that dad looks at mom, those kids are like... And they're just asleep under that little net so that they could just have sex in the weeds. And then, you know, afterwards, I mean, there's been so many moments like this that are these very bucolic, like, you know, the sun is slightly setting and there's dragonflies in the air and they're both laying under a blanket and they've had sex and
again, idyllic,
falling asleep on each other. But this time she sits up, he's asleep, and she has this very strange look on her face. It does still kind of look like she's happy, but she also looks really lost. And she kind of gathers her clothes and stands up and walks away. And this is the last time that we see her alive. This next sequence is so chilling and takes everything that we've seen Varda do throughout this movie up to this point and turns it all on its head in this way that, like, I have seen people... you know, whether it's Rip or an homage, the way that this part's used, because I'm like, 1965, this is the first time this has happened, in my opinion. He wakes up, can't find her. He's got the kids. He's going around and asking people. And then this amazing series of moments happens where he's asking people. And then we're doing these cutaways. And like, these can't be actors, right? These look like people that walked off an Errol Morris film. They're just like country French bumpkins. And they're just like, again, she has them break the fourth wall and stare directly into our souls. And what we're getting from that is they're all passing judgment on him. They don't know what for, but if this beautiful bride of yours walked away, it's because you fucking did something. And maybe that's the only moral compass in this whole movie is the way that they're looking back at him.
Interesting. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, because Cleo has a ton of moral compasses in that movie.
100%. Right? Yeah, almost too many.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And honestly, I was just, I didn't know where it was going because you're like, yeah, maybe she had to go on a walk and think about this for a minute or whatever. Yeah, I just wasn't really sure where she went. Yeah. Right. And they do leave it a mystery, but I thought it was, she had to go away, maybe think about what he's offering or whatever. And we do find out what it is, but we don't know how it happened.
And when he finds her and the crowd is gathered around, they've pulled her body from the water. Again, she's wearing a blue dress with sunflowers on it when she dies. And I
don't think I got that.
Reaches down and the music stops. Everything is stopped. We don't even hear like the sort of sotto voce of like the people around. It's like completely silent. And he lifts her up to his chest. And then there is, I think it's 5 more versions of him lifting her up to his chest. And it's not a repeat.
Again, amazing at it.
Over and over and over. Because you're like, that's how trauma works. That's how a moment of true shock works, right? Is that's what the thing you're going to remember. And then there's this fucking second.
Just a hint that this was an accident.
And that's not real. That's his fucking head. He's letting himself off the fucking hook. In my opinion, that's a complete fantasy that he's created where she's like, oh, and trying to grab a tree branch and then it comes back because you're like, no, if we were supposed to actually see that happen, we would have seen it.
Sure.
Varda would have shown it to us. It's him thinking it's a horrible accident. It doesn't have anything to do with what I did. But it puts
the doubt in the audience's mind of what really happened.
It also infuriated me at Francois. I was like, you dare for a second be like, she tried to go for a swim and like, no, she didn't in her dress. Like you just told her you were cheating on her for the last 6 months. And now she happens to be dead from drowning. And you're like, oh, she couldn't grab the branch. Like, I was infuriated.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Right, and it was also incredible because it's the like you don't assume that a director that can make things look this beautiful is going to twist the fucking knife like that.
It's true. It was
at least I did.
It was a tragic outcome I was not expecting, especially because of the rest of the movie. Although there's tones of what we've been talking about, I never thought it would necessarily go there, especially so quickly and undefined to some degree.
Well, and just you feel so fucking bad for her because it's one or the other.
Tragedy.
Like A, she got cheated on. B, she capitulated immediately in this way that you're like, you like her character so much and you're like, no, tell him to fuck off. Take the kids and leave. Right? And it's like, and then this. And then the fact that, you know, at this point we've got maybe 15 minutes left in this movie. And the last 15 minutes.
They could have easily ended with, you know, 10 minutes earlier.
It is so much darker because like Therese is just replaced.
Yep.
And you get these and it's like Emily becomes the mom basically.
Yeah, she's
like
the mother
she
figure.
moves in. And what's funny is, I mean, in a very deeply ironic way, she is not a wild animal. She becomes domesticated. She becomes exactly. He's going to do this again.
Kids, doing all the motherly duties.
Yeah, he's going to find another phone operator, right?
Sure.
The new the Therese 3.0, and it's like. So there's that irony, but then the other part that I thought was absolutely brilliant in this last chunk of this 15 minutes is that they go off and they're doing different things. Again, it's just like fucking, you know, rinse and repeat,
the 60
right?
minutes before, yeah. Mm-hmm.
With Emily now, because Therese is dead. And there's these moments where he's like, I'm going to go have a smoke, or like, I'm going to go walk around. And we think, we hope, we pray that in these moments, he's going to go walk and then like lean up against a tree and shudder, cry, missing his wife. And instead, that same vapid, empty face as he just like looks at the leaves on the trees. And you just go, oh, she didn't mean anything to him. Anything at all. And it's like, it is fucking haunting how beautifully she pulled that off without ever needing to be like, nah, he's kind of an asshole, huh? Like it just is all there. It's all laid bare.
It's true. No, that's a great way to do explain it. And again, back to what I was saying in the beginning, where this final shot is them in the French countryside again, and these matching yellow sweaters.
Yep. And now it's fall.
Yeah.
Right. So in the beginning of the movie, it's spring. Now it's fall, and he's with a different woman. Everything else is quote unquote the same, except that all the flowers are dead, all the leaves have fallen off the trees. But again, they look when she starts to soft focus it until they're finally sort of these bokeh shapes, you know, in the background. Mm-hmm. It might as well be the same four people.
Sure.
At least according to him and according to his happiness.
And the audience, you're like, that could be anyone. Yeah.
It's so dark, dude.
I'm surprised how much you love this movie.
I couldn't believe it. I like when she drowned, that whole sequence where he's lifting her up again. And that was like, I didn't even get, I hadn't even gotten to the really dark shit, which is everybody just basically forgot about her. I came into Abby and I was like, I just watched the most fucked up thing, which is like, that's a lot coming from me, but like,
sure.
I was so caught off guard. She does such a good job of really putting you into this sense of ease that when that horrible thing happens, you're just not ready for it.
Haneke is one I didn't think about, but I could definitely see why you would.
I felt like I did something. You know what I mean? I felt bad for watching it.
Yeah.
You know?
Varda has not... it makes me excited for the rest of this festival, but she has not disappointed. This has been really fun so far.
And the two movies are so different.
Very.
So different, but all equally just brilliant. But yeah.
Amazing stuff.
Incredible stuff. I'm so happy we're doing this fest.
Me too. Having more female directors, I think in the last 15, 20 years, that's definitely ramped up a lot.
Yeah.
And thinking of what she probably had to go through during this time as a female filmmaker, I bet it wasn't easy what she's doing, but she knows who she is. She knows what she wants. She's a pure artist. And truly, like, is doing things in a movie from 1965 that I'm like, I've never fucking seen
Never
that
seen that before. And making you feel like you said, digesting it after watching it, with that complexity of a David Lynch film, of a, you know what I mean?
But it's not just one
film,
aspect. It's not just the camera work. It's not just the editing. It's not just the acting. It's all like everything is like, what?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. It's a piece of, I mean, all movies are a piece of art, but I think
Sure.
to be able to say, like, from front to back, this
Like Harold
was
and Kumar go to White Castle. Piece of art.
A piece of art. No. I guess what I mean is, like, it has one. I mean, and I guess that's why I keep saying it's a horror movie, is because it has one purpose, right? It's the story that it's telling is to get across one very,
Not your traditional horror movie.
no, not at all. But to get across this one laser focused theme, and it takes you a while to find out that that's even what the theme is that it really is about this guy's concept of happiness, and come hell or high water, he's going to have it, right? And by the time that you get to that, that's a really dark idea, not one that is supposed to leave you feeling great about mankind.
Anyways, and then they like you said, twist the knife.
Yep.
And make it even darker.
Yep.
So
somehow
amazing second movie.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the rest of this festival. Especially, I think we're going to do a bonus episode at the end. That is one of her documentaries that it's about.
Yeah, kind of about her. Yeah.
So really excited to just. I've kind of avoided like watching interviews with her. I'll read stuff, but I don't like watching it until we see the movie.
Done. Yeah, till
I
we
want
kind
to
of go
see
through
her and like how just how sweet she probably is, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to know her more, even through just filmmaking, but her as a person in general. But this seems like it's almost a Herzogian discovery.
That's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very.
Because these first two are wow. I probably like Cleo more than this one, but I think you may be opposite.
I think this one is but both. But again, it's a neck and neck,
splitting hairs
incredible.
here. All right. Well, thank you very much. We will continue this festival. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see/hear. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, or you could follow each of us on Letterboxd at Adam Palcher and at Mr. Sherlock. So please join us there, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, you guys.